All right. Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and Overwatch lovers. Oh boy, what an important day it is. What a monumentous day it is. The internet is exploding, or at least a subsection of it. And why is it exploding? Because Overwatch dropped some news on us today, which is why I'm here. I'm going to react to it as usual. But my goodness, I can't believe what happened. I'm going to ruin the surprise. I know what's happening here. We're going to go over two things. It's technically one thing, but it's also two things. Number one is we're going to go over the roadmap for Overwatch 2, which they've released. And we're going to go over a big piece of news that Overwatch 2 dropped. Now, I already said I'm going to spoil it, and I am going to do so. What is happening with Overwatch 2? They are axing the PVE. I was told this earlier today, and I had to look at the calendar for a second. I was like, wait, is it April Fool's? Like we're in May, right? It's not April 1st. And no, it is not April 1st. This is not an April Fool's joke. I questioned the person telling me this. I was like, are you fucking with me? Like, the thing that they said delayed Overwatch 2 PvP from coming out and being finished, because I still don't think it's finished. They're still improving it, like I always say. Which it is getting better. I'm not going to say it's not good. It is getting better. It is good. But it should have released in a way better state than it did, and it's technically still in beta. Whatever they want to call that. So, essentially, the PvE delayed a lot of things, and they spent, I believe, shy of 3.5 years on this mode. This was supposed to usher in Overwatch 2. This was supposed to come out first, by the way, before the PvP. The PvP was supposed to come after. Now, I'm pretty sure the PvE took up a majority of their time compared to what they put into PvP. Because PvP, let's be honest, they took Overwatch 1, they worked on a little bit, and they released it. They did some big changes, 6v6 to 5v5, but let's be honest. They put a lot more work, or not even work, let's just say time. They put a lot more time, a lot more effort, and a lot more of a spotlight on the PvE portion of the game, saying it's going to be infinitely replayable. They were saying a lot of these things that just seem too good to be true, and I often question them. Now, I'm a little bit of a Blizzard hater. I feel like back in the day, Blizzard was really good, and then, we found out who they really are and how their games have degraded over time, as with the gaming industry in general. But them specifically, we're talking about here, they've degraded. They haven't done that good, right? They're still okay, but they're definitely not the old school Blizzard of what they once were. And because of this, I've become a little bit of a Blizzard hater. Now, I knew going into it that their little lies about PV was not true. Granted, I didn't think it would never come out with how much time and effort and, buzz around it they were generating. I didn't think it would never come out. They kept delaying it. Then the PvP got released, and now we're here. The PvP is finally, I would say, in a really good state, at least in terms of like how it should have released, right? In terms of like content, and in terms of how much they've worked on it, even though the on fire system still isn't in the fucking game. But in terms of everything else, they're adding a lot of quality of life things that, again, should have been at the start, but I'll stop repeating the same thing. They've basically worked on the PvP. And to just throw out the PvE after all this hype, after all this hoopla, it's insane. Now, again, I told you guys this was going to be a reaction to the roadmap. I have not seen the roadmap yet, but we're also just going to go down the line of different media outlets and Overwatch themselves basically breaking the news to us that PvE is dead. And we're going to be reacting to it and kind of ranting about it. But anyway, let me get the roadmap. Let's react to the roadmap first. So let me pull this up here. Da-dun! Here's the roadmap! Whoa! So one thing I'm curious about, which I'm pretty sure they're going to talk about, is I'm almost positive that the PvE mode, while it's not coming out, all the work they put in is pretty much not going to get scrapped. Like, they're going to reuse it. They're going to, like, put it into different things. It's not like all that work is going to go into the garbage. They're definitely going to do something. They're going to transfer the assets. They might make, from my biggest opinion, little game modes here and there, little events. Like, they're going to take what was the campaign and probably make it into like seasonal events, if I had to guess. But let's see. So we have Season 5, Quest Watch, a limited time event. This definitely looks like it has to do with I don't even know. I don't know if that's a fictional world or what. The first thing I thought of was like Europe and India, or like the Eastern world, the Eastern Hemisphere, if you're American. But I see a gigantic fucking volcano where Russia should be if we're following this logic, and I don't know if that's accurate then. So this might be a fantasy world, but it looks cool. It looks like a nice little event. It has a little map. We have Mischief and Magic. Very cool, very nice. It reminds me of Blizzard World a little bit. We have a cinematic reveal. I don't know for what. I don't know if that's teasing a new hero or what. And then after that, we have the Summer Games. So they're bringing back that, which is probably going to be Lucio Ball. So what else is here? 5v5 mini comp season. Okay. I don't know why we needed that, but okay. On Fire returns. Holy shit, I even mentioned this in this video right now. The On Fire system, I have my whole rant about this, which I'm gonna like relay now, but they took it out from Overwatch 2, and by took it out, I mean they hid it and they left the system in the game, because if you played Overwatch 1, if you were privy to the voice lines, you'll know that when you're on fire, your hero says a voice line like, "Oh, I'm on fire," but an extinguisher is not needed. You know, that's Zenyatta, right? They still say the quotes when you do good, but they just block the system. They literally just like put like clear tape, well, not clear tape on it, but they like hid it under a curtain, but it's still there. You could still hear it. You know it's there. They just don't want to show it to you. And again, this is something that's not too complicated. Now, I've heard, I don't know for sure, but I've heard that the reason they took out the on fire system was because people were flaming each other. "Oh, well, I'm on fire, so you can't tell me what to do because you're not on fire and I am, and I'm better than you, according to the game." So, that would make sense, and I've talked about this before. This would make sense if they didn't just outright reveal the scoreboard. In Overwatch 1, we didn't used to have a scoreboard. In Overwatch 2, we do, and you can see how many times someone has killed someone, how many times they've died, the assists, and everything. So if you weren't going to flame them before, because, they were on fire, that's a little ambiguous. Now you just have all the fucking numbers right in front of you, and you can hard flame them, and they can't even argue it. Well, they can. Gamers always can. But it's the same principle of like, why would you take it away under this pretense when you're gonna add in something that makes it even easier what you're trying to combat? It makes no sense. But anyway, On Fire's returning, another example of something that should have been there at the beginning of the game. I don't know why it took them how many months, almost, what is it, half a year at this point, to bring back this very simple system. And this isn't going to be something revolutionary. This isn't going to like blow your cock or give you an in-game stat boost or anything. It's just going to boost your ego like, "Oh, I'm on fire." Now, again, I could be wrong. Maybe the on fire system returns and it actually does do something, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same copy paste thing. But anyway, we also have creator workshop mode. So all you creative people out there, that definitely isn't me, have fun. So after that, after season 5, which seems pretty cool, we have season 6. Chronologically speaking, that does follow through. And we have story missions. So this is where they're finally going. So the PVE, I don't know how they were going to do the lore. I don't know how they were going to do the story, because the Overwatch story barely progressed aside from the events that happened. But the events that are happening now are like fantasy events. I mean, we have the whole Olympic thing. We have Loverwatch. Those things aren't moving forward with the lore. Those things are like just their own thing. So because we're not getting the lore events that are moving on the story, which are, the in-game events, because they're replacing them, because they were waiting on PvE. Now that PvE is scrapped, we're going to get story missions. I don't know what these mean. And one big question I have, which I don't know if it's going to get answered, but we're going to react to it. We're going to see if it gets answered. Is we're going to see if they charge for this. Because the big thing with Overwatch 2 is it's free. PvP is free. Now, personally speaking, and I think I speak for most people, it's a step down from Overwatch 1 monetization, if you're looking at it from a player perspective. From a player perspective, I would say overall, it's probably worse. Now, granted, the game is free to play, but I'm talking about from a cosmetics perspective. In Overwatch 2, to be able to buy the Battle Pass, you need to play for about 3 seasons. So, that's like, what, 6 months about? That's half a year? And then to be able to afford any skin in the shop that's worth a damn, any legendary skin, which is about $20 because you have to buy it in a bundle, you need to, and if this is if you don't spend any money, you need to grind Overwatch every week like I do on Twitch TV/Technics channel live. You need to grind out every week and do all of the weeklies to get your 60 cents. And you need to do that for about a year. So in about 1 year, you can buy one legendary skin. Granted, they do give you free, epic skins from the events, but, good luck if it's not your character. And then let's just say you grind out for a whole year every single week, nonstop, to get your one legendary skin. You still have to wait for it to rotate into the shop because you can't outright buy it. It's fucking ridiculous. At least in Overwatch 1, yeah, there was a buy-in. I mean, the game did go on sale sometimes, but yeah, there was a buy-in, but overall, you would get way more bang for your buck with the current monetization system than you would previously. Like, oh my god, you would get a legendary just from the loot boxes, and loot boxes are controversial, but I think more. I've heard when Overwatch first switched over to Overwatch 2, people wanted the loot boxes back. Now they've kind of calmed down because we know Blizzard's not going to change in their money grubbing, but at the end of the day, they were also going to charge for PVE. The whole PVE experience that was going to come out was going to basically cost a new game. Now, since they're scrapping it, that's one less revenue system for them to have. Now, the big question is, did they need this? No, they didn't. I'm pretty sure the PVE generates way more money than they expected, at least compared to Overwatch 1. Compared to Overwatch 1, making the game free to play and then costing an arm and a leg for any cosmetic you want and making it very predatory and very stingy is probably making them way more money. So, did they need the PvE to supply themselves with money? Are they drowning from lack of cash? Probably not. Now, granted, Blizzard is a big company. All their other stuff might not be doing so well, but I don't know that. So, just speaking from the Overwatch perspective, I believe that PvP with the current monetization system is probably raking them in a lot of dough. So, will they charge for these story missions? God, I hope not, but knowing Blizzard and their fucking greediness, they might. But honestly, if they do, that's going to be the biggest spin in the face because think about this. They just told us the PvE mode is canceled. Like, the standalone mode is canceled. So they're going to give us the remnants in story missions. But if they charge us for this, there better be an outcry from the community for them to make this free because this is like the least they could do for pulling our cocks and tickling our balls this entire time, this entire 3.5 year period. And you know what the saddest part is of this? The people who played Overwatch 1 who suffered in the content drought because they were quote unquote working on PvE, it's all for nothing. You suffered for nothing. The fruits of their labor that they kept promising, like, okay, guys, we know you guys are getting abused. We know there's no new content. It's okay because the PvE is going to be so good. Oh, sorry, guys, we gave up on it. Sorry, we don't know what we're doing. It's like, bruh, I like, it's so comically bad. It's so hilarious. Like, I'll be shocked. Well, I won't be shocked because Nintendo fans exist, but I will be a little surprised to see if there's a lot of people defending them not being able to release the PvE. I think it is a lack of leadership. It's a lack of direction. It's incompetence, and it's just dumb. It's just stupid. But anyway, so we have story missions, which, dear God, they're going to progress the lore now, but dear God, please make them free. Please make them free. We have a new support hero, which I'm surprised about. We just got a support hero, which is Lifeweaver, which I have strong opinions on. I don't think he's good, but I like his lore and I like his personality and his look. I like everything besides his gameplay. But we have Lifeweaver, and he has us to keep us satisfied until Season 6. After that, we have Flashpoint, which I'm assuming is a new map. And then we have Hero Mastery, which I have no clue what that is. So looking down below, we also have Firing Range. I don't know what that is. I guess that's a better practice range. Who knows? We have Player Progress... Hold on a second. Player Progression System. And obviously after that, we have Overwatch Anniversary and more. But... Player Progression... Wait a minute. This reminds me of something. In Overwatch 1, we had On Fire. They took it away for some reason, even though it was still there. And now they're bringing it back to us way later. And I'm assuming with no changes, assumingly. In Overwatch 1, we had player progression. You could level up. You could gain stars, which you could flex. Now, granted, it didn't really do anything aside from flexing, but it was still something that was enjoyed. It could show your progress. It could show how much of a loser you are, how long you play this game. For 3.5 years with no content, it could show those things. And they took it away, and they even mock you in Overwatch 2. They mock you because they show you what you used to be if you go to your profile. They'll show you, oh, you were level, 47, 2 stars, 2 prestiges, right? Or like, oh, look, you had 4 silver stars, which means you really played this game. And then they didn't bring it back. For what reason? No one knows. It makes no sense. So you're telling me they're bringing this back again. I hope that the On Fire system and the player progression system are coming back and they're revamped. If they just come back and they're not revamped, I don't know what excuse in the book the Overwatch team is going to use. The only one I could think of is, because Overwatch 2 is on a new engine, which I don't even know if that's true. But because, Overwatch 2 is a new game, we had to adjust it to be able to work with the game. We needed time. Time for what? To waste your time for 3.5 years on something else? Like, a lot of things the Overwatch team says, they say expecting praise. Like, oh, look, we're working on PVE mode for 3.5 years. Oh, so that means it's going to be good, right? Right, Overwatch team? No, it's actually canceled. Oh, well, thanks. Oh, we're bringing back the On Fire and player progression system. Oh, well, it should have been in here from the beginning. Is it going to be better? Probably not. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Like, there's all these things, too, where it's like, they say, like, oh, I'm trying to think of another example. I know there's another one. I can't think of it right now. But anyway, yeah, I don't understand, like, why these things are coming out this late. Why they weren't just kept in the game to begin with. But, I mean, it is a good thing to get it back. But taking away stuff and then giving it back to us shouldn't be praised. Like, how the times have changed. But anyway, Overwatch Anniversary is Overwatch Anniversary. It's the same as Summer Games. It's going to be the same shit. And more. So, Season 7 and beyond. So, we're getting a new tank hero, which is surprising. So, I'm going to revise my earlier statement. I think Overwatch 2 knows that players are pissed, which is why they dropped this roadmap. So, they knew, coming out and just saying, hey guys, PvE is canceled, they knew people were going to get upset. So they had to give us something to basically like fend off our anger, and this is it. So instead of having a hero release every other season, for Season 6 and Season 7, they're going to release back-to-back. Thankfully. So that's good. I think they're honestly doing that because they know we're pissed off and because we're losing out on so much potential content that we should have had already. So there's a new collaborative event as well. It's a limited mode. Cool. New control map. No one cares. New winter event. Whoa. New hero mastery missions. Okay. Roadhog rework because they know he's in the garbage. Fan favorite modes return. So again, more old content just coming back to the game. New content is great, right? I'll always like new content. I'd rather them try things and fail and keep trying things until something sticks, but we should not do what Riot Games does, which is, okay, guys, we made new game modes in the past. We're a small indie studio. It's very hard for us to do this. We can't do it anymore. So here, enjoy Earth for the next 2 years straight. And like occasionally we'll sprinkle in another game mode no one cares about that you've already played. Like, bro, all they do is give us the old shit over and over again. But anyway, fan favorite modes return. Cool. Cinematic debuts. The cinematics always go hard. That's one thing I cannot fault them on. The Overwatch cinematics do go fucking hard. Competitive mystery heroes returns. Okay, that's pretty cool. I actually like that. That's not bad. And then lore codex is in, so finally you could read the lore in the game. I don't know why more games don't have this. And this was a big criticism back in the day that Destiny received. Destiny received a huge criticism because, number one, it was $1 billion game. I don't know where that went. But it received huge criticism because all of the lore, and the lore for Destiny is really good. It's really good lore. But all of the lore was not in the game. So you would play the game, you'd get confused by things, you would have to go online and research it or watch a YouTube video, which is what everyone did anyway. So finally, with Overwatch, it's kind of the same way. You could pick stuff up in the game through like interactions, voice quotes, things like that. But there's no hard story mode, and they're not adding one in anymore, although they are adding in story missions, but you don't know the story of the game. Pretend this was old school, like, like 2000s, right? If I'm going into GameStop, I buy this game, and pretend like online is a big thing back then. I buy this game, right? I hop on the game, I see all these characters, I can only piece together what's happening because the story is not here. I would literally have to watch the trailer on YouTube and the other trailers, right? All the other cinematics on YouTube to figure out what's going on with the story, who these characters are, what they're doing, aside from playing the game for hundreds of hours and figuring it out through the interactions, right? So finally, they're adding the lore into the game, thank goodness. And then finally, we have a Sombra rework because Sombra is kind of She's probably a very, unused DPS, and DPS in general is not used too much either. So she's also getting a rework. So they're reworking Hog and they're reworking Sombra. I honestly don't know what they're going to do to Hog to make him, like, balanced. That character can't really be balanced and be fun, as he currently is, so I guess, I don't trust Blizzard to do a good job reworking, but we'll see. And then Sombra, like I said, DPS is kind of just like feeling really bad. I know a lot of DPS players that are just saying, like, we don't want to play DPS, it's not fun. We feel like we have no impact, we get no attention. And both in game, like from the healers and from Blizzard. And it feels like it's just a game of like tanks and healers. But that's going more into balance. But anyway, that's the roadmap. Pretty good, pretty interesting. Again, they don't say here that they're not giving us PVE, but we know from news and from outlets that they are not giving us PVE. And in fact, that's what I'm going to show next. So, this is on IGN. Overwatch 2 PVE hero mode canceled. A difficult choice. Oh yeah, I'm sure. So anyway, let's read a little bit of this here. So, development on the PVE experience hasn't. I don't know if that's from IGN or from Blizzard, because honestly, I could expect both of them to make this mistake. So the PvE experience hasn't made the progress that we have hoped. The team has created a bunch of amazing content, so there's awesome missions that are really exciting. There's brand new enemies that are super fun to fight and some truly great and ridiculous hero talents, but unfortunately, the effort required to put all of that together in a Blizzard quality experience, I question what that means anymore, that we can ship to you is huge. And there really is no end in sight or defined kind of end date where we can put that into our world. So basically what they're saying is they dreamt too high and they were like Icarus. They flew too close to the sun to where now they've fallen. They can't deliver on what we were expecting, which we were expecting a lot, because if you say you're working on something for 3.5 years and you're not an indie company, what are we supposed to expect? But anyway. And so we're left with another difficult choice. Do we continue to pour all that our effort... Again, a lot of spelling errors in this. To pour all that our effort into PvE, hoping we can land it at some point in the future, or do we stick with this set of values that we have aligned and focus on the live game and focus on serving all of you? Because they don't want another content drought. With everything we have learned about what it takes to operate this game at the level that you deserve, it's clear that we can't deliver on the original vision. What that means is that we won't be delivering on the dedicated hero mode with talent trees, long-term talent power progression, and all that jazz. Those things are just not in our plans anymore. We know this is going to be disappointing, which is why we want to bring it up to you before we talk about the roadmap. And to be perfectly honest, it's been really difficult for many of us, and a lot of folks on the team that pour their heart and souls into this stuff. So, that's just a little sentence they had there. Now let's actually see them talk about it. So, this is from today. This is from their dev update. Let's see what Blizzard has to say about this.
Today, we're going to talk about what's coming in future seasons. We're going to talk a bit about...
Mind you, they don't sound sad. Now, obviously, they can't really act sad because, they're advertising their roadmap. This is more about the roadmap. It wasn't supposed to be about, hey, we're canceling PvE, even though they dedicated an entire end section to it. But yeah, most of the video is about the roadmap. But let's just look at the end here.
PVE, and I think to kick us off, I wanted to ask Aaron to give us a little bit of a history lesson and some context.
So here's where, like, I feel really bad for Aaron Keller, right? Obviously, we had Jeff Kaplan, which, sometimes we even have on this channel for interviews when he's not busy. And then, he left and he got replaced by Jeff Goodman, and Jeff Goodman left, I believe. And then now we have Aaron Keller. Aaron Keller, I feel like, is just dealing with this shitstorm. Like, I feel so bad for him. I don't know what's his fault and what's not, but I feel like it can't all be his fault because he literally stepped into this and, like, look what they left him with. Apparently, Jeff Kaplan never wanted the game to be a live service game that continually got updates. He wanted to just be like, okay, release it, leave it, go next. Which, look how well that turned out. It's sad, too, because Jeff is so cool, but it is what it is. So let's see what they have to say about this.
Yeah, you got it.
While I
We
eat
announced
my
Overwatch
dinner.
2 in 2019, and a part of that presentation was about this always on, deeply replayable PVE experience. And as work slowly continued on Overwatch 2,
Slowly is
we
right.
began to pull more and more of our focus and energy away from the live game and all of the people that were playing it.
For three
We
and a
had
half
players that
years.
were excited to be playing that game.
And I just want to pause Mr. Aaron here and Mr. Kelly here for a second. Someone, not even someone, multiple people did the math, right? Based on the schedule of how things were getting released in Overwatch 1, if we never got them working on the PvE mode and them, starving us for content because all their resources went into that garbage, we actually would have had more heroes released and more maps released, more events, more hopefully new events. That one is kind of assumptions, but going by the track record of releases, we would have actually had more heroes released and more things in Overwatch 1 if it didn't stop for PvE for Overwatch 2. And by the time Overwatch 2 came out and what we have now, we still have less than what we should have had if all of this hoopla never happened and Overwatch 1 was just updated as it normally was. I think that is a big like just like shit in our faces. Again, there's a lot of shit in our faces from today. But that is a big shit in our face where it's like, wow, we should have had more. And again, at the launch of Overwatch 2, there was a lot of things buggy, there was a lot of things missing. The weeklies sometimes didn't work, they didn't track correctly. I mean, God, there was a mission in the weeklies, right? That you had to play you had to win 3 games as 2 of the 3 classes in the game. DPS, tank, and healer. You couldn't track how many wins you had on each of the things. And then when they finally fixed that, which took them weeks, if not months, it was bugged and it was broken and you still couldn't see it. This is something they can fix in one day. And you're telling me it took months? Like, I just don't believe it. It's the same thing with the on fire system. Like, I just don't believe it. It's crazy.
And they just wanted more of it. So we had a difficult choice to make. We could continue working on our original vision for
Which is what
Overwatch
they
2
did.
without a definitive end date in sight, or change our strategy and get something in front of players sooner.
Which
We
is
chose
what they
the
did with
latter,
the beta.
and we released Overwatch 2 last October with new heroes, new maps, new modes, and regular seasonal updates.
Over half a
But more
year.
than that, we shifted our values for how we want.
By the way, another thing Overwatch likes to say, and I remembered what I was going to say. I messed it up before. I forgot about it. But remember I said Overwatch likes to champion some of these like things that they do? They like to be praised for it. They put it out there thinking like, hey guys, look, this is like a fact about what we're doing. And they're thinking people are going to like it, but people end up hating it and it's like a joke. This is one of them, the Genji skin. They're like, oh, guys, the Genji skin took us 1 year to make. And, I'm not going to lie, it's not a bad skin. But, bruh, if a mythic takes you 1 year to make, number one, where is it all going? And number two, you're not going to be able to produce mythics at a good rate of the same quality. Because if each mythic takes you a year, and every Overwatch season is about 2 months, you need to release 6 years. So you have to be 6 years ahead of time with your mythics for just 1 year. You have to put 6 years worth of work ahead of time for just 1 year coming up. Which, do the math, that's not possible. Especially because most of their time went to PvE.
To develop the game. No longer would we store content up.
Wait, whoa. Wait a minute. What was that? What was that?
No longer would we...
Is Tracer getting the next mythic? Is this a teaser for the Tracer skin? Because we don't have this in the game already.
Store content up for
Wow.
really big releases and leave the game sort of languishing on the side.
Which is what
now
they did.
we made a commitment to always prioritize the live game and all of the people playing it, and to devote our development efforts there. This game is nothing
God.
without all of you.
Wow.
Yeah, and I really can't say enough about how much we've learned over the past 8 months or so. And more importantly, we've
Bruh.
taken that learning and we've put it back into
What about over the 3.5 years you fucking abused us?
the game. So as really as season two, I think you start seeing some updates we've made based on your feedback and based on what we've
That's
learned.
true. That
We've
is
been changing
true.
all of our
I
systems.
will
We've been
give them
adjusting
that.
hero balance way more frequently.
Another thing no one asked for, and I don't understand why they did this, is the new rank system. The new rank system of you get re-ranked every like what 5 wins. It used to be 7, I believe, but they lowered it. Every 5 wins. It doesn't make sense because you're not allowed to see like how you do after each win, after each loss. It doesn't make any sense. The old system wasn't broke, so why are you fixing something that's not broken? I still think comparatively the old system to this new system is superior. Why would I want to wait 5 games, 5 winning games, by the way? Because if you don't win, you still have to wait. Why would I want to wait 5 games to have to figure out what I'm going to be ranked? I want to know after each win and loss where I'm standing, what I'm close to. Now, again, as time went on, they put this in. And you know what else is insane, too? This is just going to be an Overwatch, like, ripping session at this point. What's also insane is the fact that you had to win or lose a certain amount of games to get re-ranked. It used to be 7 wins, 21 losses. Now I believe it's 5 wins, 7 losses. I believe. And you know what the best part of that was? For a while, when they did this new system, you couldn't see how many losses you had. So you literally could see the wins you had at the end of the game, but you wouldn't know how many losses you had, so you didn't know if you lost how close you were to potentially getting re-ranked. And it's like, how do you not have these things in the game? And how does it take this long to add them back in? It's asinine and it's baffling. It's buffoonery.
Constantly revisiting the roadmap behind the scenes to make sure that what we're planning to
But again,
deliver
I'll
is
always give them this, even though this is not like the best thing, is that they did improve it, and as time goes on, they are making it better. But again, it's like, why was it this bad to begin with? These are asinine choices. These are idiotic choices.
going to be great for everyone out there.
Oh yeah,
and
Trish
that
is
really
so
has
happy.
been an awesome experience for us, and partially it's because we feel like we're able to deliver a better game to all of you.
They're blurring out his like
and partially it's because we
his
hope
game
that you're
cabinet.
enjoying it more than previously when the original game was kind of slowing down a little bit in development. But at the same time, development on the PVE experience really hasn't made the progress that we would have hoped. The team
So they're basically saying like we have no clue what the fuck we're doing.
has created a bunch of amazing content. So there's awesome missions that are really exciting. There's brand new enemies.
So we
that,
read this in the IGN.
are super fun to fight, and some truly great and ridiculous hero talents. But unfortunately, the effort required to pull all of that together into a Blizzard quality experience that we can ship to you is huge. And there really is no end in sight or defined kind of end date where we can put that out into the world. And so we're left with another difficult choice.
I like how
Do we
Aaron and
continue
Matt are
to
just
pour all that
nodding
effort
like,
into
yes,
to PVE?
yes. Don't give them the
hoping that
content.
we can land it at some point in the future, or do we stick with this set of values we've aligned on and focus on the live game and focus on serving all of you? With everything we've learned about what it takes
Aaron,
to
like
operate this
that.
game at the level that you deserve, it's clear that we can't deliver on that original vision for PvE
Crazy.
that was shown in 2019.
Crazy.
What that means is that we won't be delivering that dedicated hero mode with talent trees, that long-term power progression.
We won't be charging you $60
Those things just aren't in our
more.
plans anymore. And we know that this is going to be disappointing to many of you, which is why we wanted to bring it up before we talked about the roadmap. And to be perfectly honest, it's been really difficult for many of us and a lot of folks on the team.
Yeah,
who've poured their heart and
imagine,
soul.
imagine going to the poor software developer, right? The poor programmer that's here. I don't know why I said software developer, but imagine going to the poor programmer, right? And telling him, hey, remember that thing we had you slave away on for 3.5 years? You know, you had to work overtime. You couldn't see your little, like, you couldn't see your kids go home to your wife on the holidays because we're trying to push this thing out and we kept delaying it. Yeah, just forget it. Just throw it in the trash. Forget about it. Like, we don't need it anymore. We don't need it.
Into that stuff.
Going forward, though, rather than doing a big one-time PVE releasing and rather than pouring all of our efforts into these singular releases, we're
They're gonna put
planning
it into
to
the
make
events.
co-op gameplay and co-op experiences just part of our live roadmap. So we want you to be able to
So basically, they're taking it, they're Frankensteining it, and they're putting it into just the PvP. And by PvP, I mean they're literally just adding it into the game, which is what they were doing already. It literally feels like we're going back to the old system of, hey guys, we're gonna have seasonal events and we're gonna have limited time events coming out where you could do stuff with your friends, co-op against AI. These are things that were already coming out. Like, what?
experience it more often and with more variety than we had originally announced. We're going to be releasing our first major story-based event featuring
Finally.
a new set of missions, and it'll kick off a brand new story arc for Overwatch. And beyond that, we have a lot more co-op.
See, this is where I feel like with this event too, with this event especially, the space event that's happening right now. These are not bad events. You can obviously tell they took some stuff already from the PVE and they're implementing it already. They're like testing the waters with it. And it's not bad. It's honestly pretty nice. You know, I like the little interactions, I like the little stories, and obviously they're reusing Lunar Colony in this one. It doesn't seem too high quality, but I could only just imagine what they could do with like all the assets moved over. So I actually do have high hopes for this. Again, I just hope it's free.
Features planned. Some canon and some very not canon. And we just want to give ourselves flexibility to explore the universe of Overwatch and its cast of heroes and villains, as well as just try new
goddess
things.
Is here.
We're going to continue to find the most exciting ways of bringing new experiences to the running game on a frequent and consistent basis.
Let's bring up that roadmap.
So basically, they're gonna do what they were doing before. That's all we need to hear. So, we're not gonna watch the rest of this for brevity's sake, because I am a very busy man, and this has been going on long enough. I've ripped Blizzard enough of a new asshole. But yeah, this is the news. That was the roadmap, and it's just like, bro, what the fuck? This is honestly more about like them canceling PvE than the roadmap. The roadmap is cool, but like if they didn't say anything about the PvE getting canceled, this would have been like a 5 to 10 minute video. It's almost going to be like a 40-minute video now, because like this is just so ridiculous. This is insane. Now, one thing I want to do before we shove off here is let's look at the comments here, right? Let's look at the comments on the YouTube. Hopefully there's no like ASCII penis here. It's great to see everyone unanimously agreeing that this decision is horrible. I have legit never seen a gaming company that has failed and managed to disappoint their own fans at literally every step and in every possible way. Okay, so obviously this is an overreaction, but it's not far off. Overwatch keeps fucking up in major ways, and it's so sad because the game really garnered a lot of love and a very long-standing loyal player base where you can constantly wrong them, you could beat them up, you could steal money from their wallet, piss on them, use that money for drugs, shit on them, and they'll still like forgive you at the end of the day. They'll still stick by you. And it's crazy. I'm sorry for all the devs who worked on PvE. Yeah, so am I. Also, this is Tank Dempsey saying this. I really wish we could have seen the work y'all did. Yeah, I do too. I'm sure it was way better than we expected. Not too sure about that, but it was probably really good. And again, we're probably going to get good content going forward now, because I really hope they bring like the limited time events with skill trees, with like, you know, upgradable skill stuff like they had in the PvE. And, you know, just don't make it permanent like they were planning to do with the PvE. Just make it like for that limited event. Make it cool. You know, the more you play it, it has some replayability. You can level up stuff. You can make it more fun. I don't know like why they wouldn't do this, but again, knowing Blizzard, like the guy says, they take the wrong steps at like everything. So there's that. Let's see. I gotta give it to Blizzard here. It takes a lot of balls to kill off every bit of hype and love for your game in a single video. See, that's not true. People are still hyped for the PvP. Some people like me really weren't excited for the PvE. Obviously, it was something. I wasn't gonna get it because it was paid for. And even then, I don't, you know, trust what they say. It's like, oh, it's infinite replayability. Yeah, it was going to be infinitely worked on and never come out. That's what they were really supposed to say. But I don't think they're killing the game. Obviously, this is a big blow, but I think Blizzard, if there's one thing they could do, is they could release future content that's really good for Overwatch, and everyone will kind of just, like, you know, nod and kind of forget this ever happened. But you know, they have to release good content for that. But that's good. You know, Blizzard is good at that. They can release good content in a small time frame and time window. And then the rest of the content after that is lackluster or just nothing comes out for a while. But because that one good thing happened and it was really good, it ends out, you know, making us forgive them. Or at least forgetting about the atrocities they committed. But anyway, the skill tree seemed to be the most unique and fun aspect of PvE. Really disappointed yet again that it will be excluded. Am I talking about them scrapping PvE? Absolutely. Bravo, Overwatch team. I'm so glad you proved me right with the PvE mode. I knew deep in my mind you people would not fulfill your promise for PvE to your player base. You did well keeping the hype up, and like many times in recent months, you drop an anvil on the heads of everyone who supported you. I, for one, am glad I put so little trust in the Overwatch team, and it's sad, but I feel like that should be commonplace now. I love the part where they all promised never became true. Unbelievable. Vegeta said that, or Vegetal. Don't worry, guys. I'm sure they'll pull through with the PVE when they decide to release Overwatch 3. Oh my god. Absolutely devastating. As a longtime Overwatch fan, I gave Overwatch 2 PvP the benefit of the doubt and have been waiting patiently for PvE. Was looking forward to experience the world I love so much through a story campaign, and now I don't see a lot of a reason for me to stick around. So this actually might clear out some of the player base of Overwatch 2, even though it's not gonna, I don't think personally, I could be wrong about this, but I don't think personally it's gonna do too much damage to the game, because a lot of the people who are here are PvP lovers. So it is gonna drive out some of the people who are waiting for PvE, but I don't think that was many. But anyway, we're not gonna, stab the dead horse anymore. We're not gonna kick the person when they're down. We'll just leave it at that. I think we've ripped, again, Blizzard 2 new assholes at this point, and I think enough is enough. Basically, Jesus Christ. Again, I'm not too upset by this. I'm just more laughing at it. Like, how did it get to this point? How did it get to this fucking point? But, like, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, looking for the future, pretty cool stuff. I'm expecting even better things, because if this was the stuff we were getting, right? Look at all the past stuff we just got. All the events. Loverwatch, the space event just now, Space Watch, I think it's called, and then the stupid Olympian game mode. If that's what we were to expect for the future, I was not looking forward to it. Now, with hopefully them making the events better, using the tech and the stuff from PvE, hopefully transferring it over, I'm a little bit more excited for the PvP side of things, because now it's two mixed into one. But anyway, that's going to be it. So I hope everyone enjoyed. And come watch me live at Twitch TV Tecnics channel, where I do these live usually. I stream every day, or I try to. And that's it.